I've sold over $1 million in revenue in less than 3 years as an Etsy print-on-demand seller from Sweden. But with that, I've made a ton of mistakes. So in today's video, I'll go over the 5 biggest mistakes that I've made thus far, so that hopefully I can help you avoid them. And whether you're on your first sale, your 100th sale, or your 1,000 sales, by avoiding these mistakes, it will surely save you a lot of time, money, and effort. So let's get into it. Now, the first and main mistake is that I threw spaghetti at the wall, so don't do the same thing. Now, what do I mean by this? Well, when I started, I thought that okay, if I just put my everything into this, I will make it work by just putting so much effort into it. So what I did was that I spent all day, like I went ham. So I had like a small marketing agency with really few clients, but I basically I concluded those relationships. Then I just said, okay, I gotta do this Etsy thing because I thought that I needed a lot of capital to make the music project work, which, spoiler alert, I actually didn't need. Now, what I did when I started this was that I basically said, okay, I gotta spend everything on this, but I'll do 500 listings a month to make this work, because I thought, okay, if I just put up so much listings, I will eventually learn and get better, which in and of itself is correct, but it's missing one crucial ingredient that I didn't know at the time, and that's reflection. I didn't reflect at all on the process. I just put up so many designs on so many different listings, and none of them really worked because I did the same mistakes over and over and over and over again. I got really good and really fast at listing. That I got down for sure, but it didn't solve the problem of not getting sales. Like, I got some sales each month. I was like steadily but I was kind of capped at like, I think it was like 5 to 10K in revenue each month until I started Cassie's mentorship that she had a long while back now. But before that, I didn't do any reflection, and that was the main thing. So do not throw spaghetti at the wall. You have to always do your reps, but once you do your reps, it's so important to just take a step back, look at how everything is going, like what is going well, what is going bad, and then once you know what's going well, do more of that and just go into that direction. Not just doing the same thing like I did in the beginning over and over and over again, because that doesn't lead to progress. Pain plus reflection equals progress. Now, the second mistake that I did was that I didn't focus on the value equation. What do I mean by this? Alex Hermosi phrased this, but it's such a good thing. In our cases, as Etsy print-on-demand sellers, why someone actually buys. So think of the value here as someone clicking purchase. I didn't understand this at all. I just like did the same thing over and over and over again. But as I learned and got better and got like started to reflect on my on how things have went with the help of Cassie in the beginning, that's when I actually started. It started to go a lot better. But if I understood this would have saved me so much time, because these four things is all that you need to actually make things work. So the dream outcome is basically the design. It has to be something that they actually want. So this is the most important part. But if you have a super good design and like you have only like the thumbnail in the listing, so you have a really good design on a listing with one image, no reviews in your store, then there's a good likelihood that they won't purchase, because their perceived likelihood of actually receiving the item that you have displayed is so low because no one else has purchased from the store. So perceived likelihood of achievement in our cases is the reviews, if you have a guarantee, but basically how likely is it that they will actually get the thing that they purchased. So this is a huge part to understand, to just know that, okay, this is one of the main variables to actually get sales, which is why it's so important to just get some social proof in the beginning, like pricing stuff low, so that you can actually get that. The third part of this that really affected me during, I think it was my first Q4, was that I didn't I had friends who got a lot of increase in sales, but I didn't get that much increase. And the consensus at the time was that you need to really prolong your shipping times, just because there could be potential delays with print providers. So yeah, I was like, okay, I got to do this. So I think it said that the item will arrive almost in 3 to 4 weeks for the customer. But I did that. And then my friends and stuff that I knew through this print-on-demand journey got sales, but I didn't do that. I didn't have that huge bump in sales, and I really was testing a lot of stuff. So I tested a new designs that didn't really work. I had already had proven designs that kind of worked before Q4. I tested out changing the pricing here, which I'll go into in a second, but the effort and sacrifice part here is the a big thing about that is the pricing. I tested that out too, and that didn't really work as well. And I was like, okay, nothing is actually working. Then I just look at my shipping times. Now this is just a setting on Etsy, so it's super easily overlooked, but it's actually one of the main variables to get sales, because when I actually changed the shipping times to what was actually accurate, not super long, because I had this prediction that there would be super long delays. When I just reset this back to what I actually had, to what's actually accurate in my store, that's when I saw a huge sales increase. And all I did was change my the processing and shipping times so that they were accurate in my store. That's all I did. I removed the prediction that I had that there would be super long delays. So this is really important to know. This shipping setting is a huge variable to actually get sales. And the last part about the Vela equation that's really important to know is the effort and sacrifice. This is pricing, as I mentioned. This is also if you have if hassle occurs, it easily be fixed. This is really proven by, for instance, like a guarantee, or if you have a returns and exchanges policy in your store. All of this equates to effort and sacrifice. But just understanding these 4 things would have saved me so much time, because then I would actually know, okay, my shipping times are the things that are off. Okay, I haven't done break-even pricing in the beginning to garner rank, because you can do a break-even strategy to get some initial rank on your listing. And what you do there is that you decrease the effort and sacrifice for the customer. And if you're in your first 100 sales or 1,000 sales, making sure that you have good reviews by pricing really low, and then just always contacting the customer after they have purchased the item is a huge thing to just make sure that this part can be improved, because you can get a lot of reviews that way. And the most important thing is always going to be the design. It has to be the thing that they want. But just understanding these 4 parts is something that would have saved me so much time if I actually knew about it at the time. The third mistake that I did was that I chose bad print-on-demand providers. I don't want to name specific ones, but basically I've mainly used Printify through my whole journey. They've been such a good, if you look at it holistically, they're just basically a site that connects you with different print providers. They provide great service, and they've been I've gotten so much help with them, so I can't just state enough that how important they have been for my own success. But basically, if you look here, you have they basically are just a site that connects you to all of these print providers. So you have all of these print providers here that you can choose from. When it comes to shirts, I've sold a lot of the Vela Canvas 3001, Monster Digital, and Swift POD are my main go-tos. It's been that for a long time now, but I've also tested out different ones. Now, during Q4, this has proven pretty bad because things go out of stock, things got kind of crazy during Q4. You need to kind of have backup providers to actually make this, to make it work. And I've chosen some here that just both previously have been on here, but has been taken off and stuff like that. But basically, I've chosen different ones, and that had just made orders have been canceled really far into the production process randomly, or they've been shipped out super late during Q4. Weird things happen, but not at a frequency that some print providers have, because some print providers, in my experience, have shipped out things super late. They shipped out the item over a week late, which means that the customer will have it super late and will be really delayed. Whereas some print providers, like Monster Digital here and Swift POD, for instance, they are super reliable. One of the biggest mistakes that I did was choosing wrong print-on-demand partners. There are different sites compared to Printify. I've also used Printful, but even with that, I've still always preferred Printify in my experience, because you have at least the option to choose other print providers if something goes wrong. Whereas Printful, they're just one of the same company. They have different warehouses in domestically in the US. You're still tied to that same production partner, which would be Printful. So I've always preferred Printify overall, just so you have the availability. But it's always so important that each of these print providers here are different companies, which means that they provide different quality, they have different reliability. When I say quality, for instance, is the quality of the print. How reliably are they shipping out things on time? When stuff occurs, issues, are they really easy to, you always go through Printify, but Printify obviously has to communicate with the specific print providers in question. And that varies depending on the company. How easy is it to fix issues that can potentially occur? Those are the 3 main variables that I actually look at when it comes to assessing quality, and reliability is my number 1, which is why I always find that Swift POD and Monster Digital is the most reliable ones to choose from when it comes to apparel, at least. Now, mistake number 4. And this is a big one. That's gonna be delaying the first hire. So when I started, I did all of my accounting in the beginning, and that was such a big hassle because it's really complex. I'm not an accountant nor a tax professional, which makes it really hard to understand stuff, which also means that I have to hire in consultants that are tax professionals so I can actually understand it, how to fix it. I thought that I could mitigate costs by doing most of the things myself, but that just ended up with me paying a lot of consulting fees to make sure that I do things right, to make sure that I actually do things properly. The most important thing when it actually comes to to this whole thing is that I could have taken that time that I did learning about how the Etsy accounting stuff worked. I could have taken that time and just applied it to my Etsy store instead, and I would have seen probably faster results, and I could have had the money to actually hire an accountant that are specifically specialized in that thing. Would have made my life so much easier if I just did that from the get, because I still ended up paying a lot in consulting fees to actually figure the whole Etsy accounting, bookkeeping, and stuff like that out in the beginning, because it's really hard and really complex, at least for someone that is not super versed in it. So delaying that first hire, which was the accountant for me, was a super big mistake. And if you haven't done that, I would strongly recommend to do that, even though you might not have the funds for it yet. I didn't have the funds for it in the beginning, but I could have taken that as fuel to just make the Etsy thing work even faster, because I still had to pay for an accounting software and stuff like that. And I still had to pay for consulting fees. So it still ended up with me paying a lot in accounting and bookkeeping fees, because I had to do everything myself. At least that was the presumption that I had. So delaying that first hire was a huge mistake. I should have hired an accountant way sooner, because I would have been able to actually scale my store faster with that, because I would have actually been able to focus on the thing that actually drive the revenue. And the last one, which might be the biggest one, but that's that I was actually stubborn with designs. I tried out a lot of different designs, but and I just was like, okay, I gotta do this, I gotta do this, but I didn't base anything out of research. So I just tried out different design styles that I thought, this looks cool, and then when I started working with Cassie, that's when I started to learn more about research and stuff like that. But again, being stubborn with designs that has sold a couple times but wasn't able to scale to the scale that I wanted to, because I wasn't basing things out of research, was one of the main things that actually held me back. Because if we look at the value equation here again, all these three can optimize the listing itself, which basically means that you can get more sales if you optimize these three, but it's only the anchor to the whole thing is still the dream outcome. So if this part isn't correct, which it wasn't in my case for a long time, that's when you are basically capped at a certain revenue per month, because you always need to have designs that actually work. They need to be based out of research. I really needed to at least say that, okay, this element works here, this element works here. What if we combine them into something new and then add that to the platform? And I'm a music artist first and foremost. That's the thing that I've focused on since I was a little kid. And how you always do music is that you have something inside of you, you let that come out. But that isn't really how you do commerce, because that is artistry. This is commerce, and in commerce, I just found that doing stuff that taking stuff that works, combining them in new ways, and adding that to the platform is the way to actually treat this if you want to make it as a business, because that was the goal that I had with my Etsy stuff, to make it a business, which means that I'm in the business of commerce. And then just basing every decision, every design decision, not out of my own intuition and my own artistry, but basically out of the things that I actually see are working. That was the thing that made it click for me to actually find my winning designs. Usually when you start Etsy, and especially for me, this was the biggest hurdle for sure. It can take years to actually find this. And in all honesty, I think it's really important to just know that you have to at least put in a year to get some tangible good results with this, because I'm not a designer. I'm better at it now, but I wasn't no designer at all in the beginning and didn't know anything about it. And I think that's how it is for most people. And the great thing is that you don't have to be a designer to make this business work. You just have to take elements that work here, and then to create something new. And if you're in the first year, and this is the thing that you feel that is the hardest thing to actually conquer, you haven't found a design that is working really well, you don't have that many best-selling listings, or you don't have a best-selling listing, which is the way that you can see that you have a great design, then I think it's really important to just focus on the thing that holds you back the most, which is the design. I go through that stuff in this video right here. I won't be able to go into depth in this video, so I would strongly suggest that you watch that video just so that you can get some more information and just work on the thing that is the biggest thing that holds you back in your business. Anyhow, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.